Hey, you person watching this video that's not subscribed to this channel. I have looked over my analytics and a large portion of you that are watching these videos are not subscribed here to this channel, and to that I would just like to say welcome, hello, my name is Steven, and I do like to consider that the videos that I post here on this channel are more of discussion pieces. I don't necessarily like to tell you guys what to think. We're just trying to talk out and sort out our problems here when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we're trying to share that passion, that unites us all, Leafs Nation, if you will. So thank you if you did subscribe. If you have not, enjoy the video, I guess. Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Steven Brown, and in today's video, Kasperi Kapanen of the Toronto Maple Leafs is one of the best players in the NHL at doing this one particular thing. And I guess it all kind of does stem from his skating ability, and the guy does kind of get a breakaway per game almost just from his blazing speed, but I kind of want to use this to frame a conversation around him and talk about his development moving forward and what I would like to see the organization do with this player. And this all kind of stems from a conversation that was taking place on Twitter that a couple of people kind of piggybacked off of towards the end of June. And it starts off with @FoCenter here on Twitter. Bryce, I'm sorry, I do not know how to pronounce your last name there, but he is an analytics guy with the Kingston Frognacks and a student at Western University. And he does have this handy dandy list here of the top puck carrying transitional forwards in the NHL. And our guy, Kasperi Kapanen, happens to fall on this list. And then in a follow-up tweet, he goes on to say here, because I guess he was asked about William Nylander a couple of times, because if you've ever seen William Nylander skate the puck over the offensive blue line, he just needs like a little tiny sliver of space, and boom, he's in the offensive zone with the puck on his stick, ready to start the play here. And I don't think that these are necessarily the leaders for the Maple Leafs in terms of their best transition players. I think he just kind of handpicked a couple of guys that he thought would be interesting talking points. Trevor Moore is interesting to see on here. Obviously, a piece that they traded away to acquire Jack Campbell and Kyle Clifford earlier this season. A lot of people were very, very high on him. And then Nylander and Marner on here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. And where it says total transition score, I assume that that's the percentile in which the player ranks in the entire NHL. And then in the thread here, I think that this is an important thing to note here. Bryce goes on to note it does not factor in how many opportunities a player gets to transition, because this data is not readily available to the public. And then Jack Han, who's former hockey ops with the Toronto Maple Leafs and assistant coach with the Toronto Marlies, and also wrote a book called Hockey Tactics 2020, goes on to add to this. Lots to unpack here with regards to Toronto 16, so Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and Kasperi Kapanen. In the offensive zone, Mitch Marner is elite, but getting there, he's quality if not quantity, which is why his overall 5-on-5 shots for impacts is relatively modest compared to William Nylander. Meanwhile, Kasperi Kapanen creates a lot of transition volume with his speed, but has trouble making the next successful play in the offensive zone. Which, if you're watching any of the Maple Leafs games from this season or seasons past, it's kind of easy to pick out to say, oh my god, look at Cappy go, alright, he just kind of skated into the corner and lose it there, or there's an opportunity there that's squandered. And this is where I think coaching has to take a factor in this, and this is one of the biggest reasons why I think that Mike Babcock failed here in Toronto. You have this guy who's really good at this one thing. Okay, he's really good at this one thing. How are we going to try to maximize that or get the most out of that one thing that this guy is really good at? So, all right, we got this guy Tyson Barrie here. He's a really good offensive defenseman, but Dubas, we really, really wanted a defensive guy this summer, so I'm going to take this guy that's really, really good at offense, and I'm going to make him play defense, and I'm going to see what's going to happen. You know what? Scratch that. Instead of just making Tyson play defense, I'm just going to take the whole team and make them play defense, even though they're not very good at it. The best teachers, the best coaches, the best bosses, just the best role models in life in general should put you into positions to succeed. Now, facing adversity is different than setting you up to fail. Those two things are different. Bending is okay, it's how we learn, but once that person or once everyone else in the arena has identified that you've obviously broken that person, you should probably take that person out of that position. What's that quote from earlier in the season? I always bet on Mike Babcock. Mike Babcock? And I'm not saying that he's a bad coach or that I'm smarter than him. Mike Babcock is 100% a smarter hockey mind than I am. You could just easily tell that it got very, very spiteful there towards the end. But come on, anyone willing to offer up a quote like this when you're days away from getting fired is This guy's different. And this is where I think coaching needs to take into a factor if we're looking at potential lines for next season. When looking at Kasperi Kapanen, something obviously goes wrong when he starts darting through the neutral zone over the offensive blue line and then eventually loses the puck, or loses possession, or nothing impactful comes from having the puck in that sense. Does the game kind of need to be simplified for this player? And if it does, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a couple of years ago here in Toronto, we saw Mike Babcock take Nazem Kadri and get the most out of that player. He simplified the game for him in a sense where he went up to him and told him, okay, Naz, in this game, this is what we need you to do, shift in and shift out, and Naz was very successful with it. And it was kind of clear from watching the games and looking back that when Kadri didn't have that obvious assignment or the coach telling him exactly what to do, I don't think he was as effective. And that's not a slight on Naz at all. Some people just need that direction. They need a little bit more coaching. Because right now what you have in Kasperi Kapanen is you have a player that allows you to gain the offensive blue line with a lot of success. So how do we harness that and turn those successful entries into scoring chances? Is it as simple as just giving him a clear role once he does get the puck into the zone? Or is it something like playing him with line mates that kind of makes the game a little bit easier, right? If you're playing with Austin Matthews and William Nylander and you have the puck in the offensive zone, you're probably not going to be thinking as much. You're probably going to be thinking, okay, how do I get the puck to Willie or Austin? And you're thinking to yourself, how do I get the puck to Willie or Austin here, instead of thinking, how do I make this first pass, or do I take a shot here? Because when it comes to Kasperi Kapanen, I would never say that he's a player that's lacking the skill set that it takes to make that first play in the offensive zone or decide whether or not to shoot the puck there. Because as we saw with a player like Zach Hyman in the previous season playing predominantly with John Tavares and Mitch Marner, he scored 21 goals and 41 points. And I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. And then this season, after coming back from injury, he was on pace for 34 goals. And like Kasperi Kapanen, Zach Hyman used to be a guy where we looked at him whenever he had the puck on his stick as a guy where the play would go to die. But to tie it in even more here, I don't think it was ever in doubt what Zach Hyman's role was when he was on the ice. And I think he's been very, very successful in having a career of just being told what to do and just going out and doing it. And especially since the Maple Leafs acquired Kyle Clifford, Kasperi Kapanen has kind of developed this kind of scrappiness to his game. I guess you can call him Scrappy Cappy in a sense, where he's gotten into a couple of fights. He's been the agitator on the ice, and if you've heard him smack talk a couple of times, you know what? He's not that bad at it. And at the end of the day, I think that the Maple Leafs have a hell of a player and a hell of an asset in Kasperi Kapanen, and it's going to be really exciting to see him develop because I think that he's got a lot more to give. But what do you guys think? What do you think Kasperi Kapanen's role should be moving forward with the Toronto Maple Leafs? What do you think about this video? Make sure to leave me a like on it and make sure to subscribe for more because more is always on the way. And guys, remember that the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be A-okay.